Released in 2011, Bulletstorm is a first-person shooter developed in partnership by Polish developer People Can Fly and Epic Games, and was absolutely loved by critics and fans alike. At a time when first-person shooters were abundant, this game stood out for its style, its reliance on excessive violence, bad language, and wonderfully dark humour. It was a game that rewarded you for insanely ridiculous and creative kills. For example, how many games can you kick a person into a cacti? So the question that's been weighing on my mind, if this game was so loved, what the hell happened to it? Why have we not got a Bulletstorm 2 in the 9 years since the first game was released? Hello everybody, I'm Roy McCoy and welcome to my latest video, and this time we're looking at the history of Bulletstorm. Before I get started, please smash that like button as it really helps these videos to grow. But after that shameless plug, let's crack on with the history of Bulletstorm. Our story begins in the year 2007, when Polish developer People Can Fly, famous for the game Painkiller, partnered with Epic Games, those people that brought us Fortnite and the Gears of War games. Due to be published by EA, filed the trademark for the name Bulletstorm in December 2009. And considering that People Can Fly and their majority shareholder, Epic Games, had previously partnered successfully on some of the Gears of War games, expectations for Bulletstorm were high. And this ultimately could have been one of the reasons that we haven't seen a new Bulletstorm for 9 years. The game released in February 2011 and was pretty much universally loved by critics. The Metacritic score for the PS3 version still stands as of making this video at 83, and it was praised for its witty humour, its insane amounts of violence, and just overall levels of fun. And apparently, upon release, a sequel was already in pre-production. So why have we not got it as of yet? And what happened to this brilliant game that was rated incredibly highly by critics and fans alike? Well, this part of the story is pretty simple. The game apparently sold around 1 million copies, which is pretty good for a new IP. However, as I mentioned before, expectations were high, not just from the fan side, but also from the developers. This was a company in partnership that had brought you Gears of War, and the sales expectations were much higher, with both EA and Epic Games considering the game's sales disappointing. And Epic Games themselves declared that they had failed to actually break even on the game. The next bit of the story is probably the reason that we haven't seen a game as of yet, because in 2012, Epic Games, who were already the majority shareholders of People Can Fly, decided to make a full buyout of the Polish studio. Now, the three founders, whose names I'm too scared to even try to pronounce, so we'll just call them Adrian, Michael, and Andrzej, decided to leave the company and found their own new studio called the Astronauts, who worked on the well-received The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. Now, considering that now Epic Games owned People Can Fly and had considered Bulletstorm to be a little bit of a commercial failure, it's no surprise that plans were scrapped for a Bulletstorm 2 and development was moved on to a new game. And in 2013, People Can Fly gave us Gears of War Judgment. In 2013, the studio was rebranded as Epic Games Poland. However, that is not the end of this story, as in 2015, the studio announced its split from Epic Games and returned to its old name and former logo. And this time, the studio was under the stewardship of Sebastian Wojciechowski. See, I tried it. I don't know if I got anywhere close with that name, but let's hope. But the one thing that they did do in 2015 when they split was to retain the rights of the Bulletstorm franchise. Now, since that initial split in 2015, there have been a number of interviews, especially with Sebastian, who have said that the idea of working on a new Bulletstorm is very much in their minds. And in 2017, as if to back up those words, we got Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition that was published by Gearbox Software, and this game included all of the DLC, Gun Sonata, Blood Symphony, and also some new extra content developed by the People Can Fly studio. There was also the chance to play as Duke Nukem with new lines from John St. John if you pre-ordered the game, which to my mind is pretty damn cool. And according to reports, the game sold pretty well. Now, it wasn't received as well this time. The Metacritic score on the PS4 is 75. However, that's still pretty darn good. And as if to back up the idea that this game was still very much on the minds of People Can Fly, we also got a version for the Switch in 2019, which was also received well and sold well. And this is the point of the video where I usually discuss that all-important question, could we see a new one? And I'm going to say yes. Without a doubt, this game is going to be worked on. The studio itself would have been buoyed by good sales figures and would feel that there is definitely a demand. And that has been backed up by the Bulletstorm Duke of Switch edition, which in itself was a remastered version of Bulletstorm Full Clip edition, which was a remastered version of Bulletstorm. Wow, this is like Inception in terms of video games, isn't it? Now, as of the moment, the only confirmed game that we have coming from People Can Fly is Outriders, due in 2021. However, I fully imagine that Bulletstorm is very much in the minds of the developers. Now, what could it look like? Well, as most of those development team, and indeed the 3 founders, have moved on to other projects. So it would be a completely new team working on the second Bulletstorm. But if the full clip remastered edition is anything to go by with that extra content, they still very much had the core values and feel of the game. So I am hugely optimistic that we could be seeing a new one of these games in maybe 2022. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with my optimistic outlook on this game, and also tell me what you would like to see in a new Bulletstorm. And for me today, this is Roy McCoy, out!